This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining. Tonight is a super, super special night. So, I first want to come out and say, hey, welcome to our very, very first leadership chat of the year. And so, I wanted to welcome all of you. And I just can't wait. I know you guys know what's coming with the next slide. I just could not wait for tonight because I just am so passionate about introducing our special guest, Lisa Wilber. So she's normally always snapping
Yay.
of everybody. And so here I've been able to capture a few of you, Lisa. But I would do an injustice to really share with you guys, as you know, when I was submitting out to everyone about tonight, that she is one of the top 5 bonus leaders and one of only 6 in the entire company platinum executive leaders. So she has authored books. She's in a demand speaker, and she has, if you look at her credentials, they just grow and grow and grow and grow. But I'll let her tell you a little bit more. So, Lisa, I know what you might share with everybody. You're kind of like, thank you for taking the time to join us tonight because I know that you're actually on the road right this very second, but yet you're here with us. So I will not keep rambling on because they hear from me all the time. Welcome and take over, Lisa.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't know. Is it going to show me or not going to show me ever?
Oh, we see you.
Oh, okay. Because I don't. I just see the other screen. Yeah, I'm actually in the parking lot of the Driver Ed place, and I'm the carpool mom. So me and my dog are sitting here in the van, in the Avon van, in the parking lot of the Driver Ed place, because I'm the one that brings the kids from town. So that's, yeah, welcome to my life, huh? Oh, yes. So I did have a request from someone in your group, and I'm sorry I didn't write her name down. I don't know if you want me to do that first or you want me to tell my story. I know there's some people that haven't heard of me at all. What would you like, Linda?
Okay, but you know what? Do it in the order that you feel most comfortable with, Lisa.
Oh, okay. Why don't I just give you the brief version? I'm sure a lot of you have heard it because I see a lot of your names on the screen here. So bear with me. This is probably mostly for new people. But I signed up to sell Avon 1981 when I just graduated high school. I got married and moved to Guam. Don't do the math. And I was a wee child, obviously, when I signed up. But there were other wives doing stuff like Princess House and Tupperware, but I didn't see anybody doing Avon. So I wrote to the company and bought a kit that way and signed up to do Avon. Now, it never occurred to me that this could be a full-time thing. And for many years, actually, after that even, I was doing it on the side of doing other stuff. The whole time I was growing up from like 12 on, I earned my own money. So when I got to Guam, I wanted ways to earn my own money. Even though I was married, to me it always was I needed my own money. So I did work, like I worked as a secretary, I worked as a cashier, I worked as a cocktail waitress. I did a whole bunch of different jobs on Guam, as well as sold Avon. That big surprise that being married didn't work out because I got married at 18. Yeah, so I had to release him to move on to another opportunity, and I decided instead of going home to my folks so I could hear I told you so, I just picked a place and I went to Mississippi, and I stayed there a couple of years, signed up to sell Avon again. I've sold the whole time. I just didn't know that you could transfer. But I always thought it was a good way to make money. When you buy wholesale and sell retail, it's such a big known brand name that I always liked it. I always liked the background story to it. So every time I moved, that was the first thing I did was contact Avon and get back in. So I lived in Mississippi for a couple of years, South Carolina is where I was right before here. And in Charleston, South Carolina, I worked my worst job. That was third shift at the convenience store. And I think I earned like $3.23 an hour or something like that. I guess I got like 20 cents extra because I worked graveyard shift. But that had to be, I think, the worst job that I ever had. I didn't earn enough to have heat. I had to save up for that. So it was about 3 months of my bathroom didn't have a window, so I was cold showers in the dark, which, yeah, that's something you don't forget. And I actually, it's embarrassing to say, but I was eating popcorn out of their popcorn machine because I knew they didn't inventory it, and I was hungry, and I didn't have enough money to buy food because my rent took most of my money. So it was little stuff like that. It makes me not want to be poor. But anyway, so when I left Charleston, South Carolina, where I worked in the convenience store, I moved to New Hampshire. Most of these moves, by the way, were following some guy, don't judge me, and that never worked out. Also, don't judge me. And then in New Hampshire, I decided I'm going to go for a better job. I'm not just going to go down to 7-Eleven and get another convenience store job that's sucky. So I looked in the paper, and I did know how to type and stuff. So I thought, well, I'll try for a secretary job. So I went to the computer place in Bedford and applied for a job they had in the paper. And it was for an executive secretary. And it was pretty hilarious because I had to act like, you know, I deserved the bigger money. The guy called me after I got home from the interview, and he said, I'm a little embarrassed to offer you what they're able to offer you, but we're only paying $15,000 a year with benefits. And he didn't know that I was only earning $3 an hour. I mean, so I was earning like $6,000 at the convenience store, and I went to earning $15,000. I was so excited to get that nicer job. That was like the best thing that ever happened ever. And I worked at that job as a secretary for a couple of years, selling Avon on the side. I did Avon the whole time still. And then what happened is it was like 1986, 87, that there was a recession, and my whole department got laid off. And even the guys were upset. No one, they didn't give us much warning. They just said, well, it's over. And one of the guys was even crying. And I'm not a cry person, but I went home. By then I was married to husband number 2, don't judge. And husband, I was bawling so hard over losing this job that I liked so much that I was snot bubble crying. You ever done that? Snot bubble crying? Yeah, it was bad. And if you know me, that is something you don't see every day. But I was snot bubble crying. And husband number 2 said, you know, what's the big deal? Why don't you do more with that Avon thing you've been playing with? And I thought, oh, yeah, right. Yeah. I thought, right. Yeah, let's just do Avon. And I said, listen, there's nobody earning the kind of money I need to earn. I mean, by then I was earning $20,000 a year with benefits. And I said, I've been to the meetings for Avon. The top seller is only selling $20,000, and there's quite a gap there between what you sell and what you earn, you know, the margin. And he said, just because no one's doing it right now doesn't mean you can't do it. And I was like, oh, I hadn't thought of that. And I think this is sad, but it worked. But I actually read into what he said as him believing in me. I thought he believed that I could do it. And at that moment in my life, I didn't think I could do it. If no one else was doing it, I was judging what I could do by what everyone else was doing. So him saying, why does that matter? You can do it. I thought, oh, well, he knows me. He married me. If he thinks I could do it, maybe I can do it. So I kind of threw myself into it. And I built quite a big business, as you probably know. Within a couple of years, I replaced my secretary pay. And then, of course, when leadership came out, it changed my life forever. I mean, that came out in 93. So there was I did just personal sales for quite a few years and had built that pretty well. I think my biggest year in personal sales was probably 75,000. I did that a couple times. I did counsel a couple times. But anyway, the sad part about that story, and the reason I want to tell you, is my now ex-husband, my second husband there, he heard me tell somebody that story on the phone, and he said, "You don't go around telling people that, do you?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, because believe it or not, at that moment, you believing in me made the difference between me doing this and me not doing it, or me doing it in a big way." And he said, "Oh my God, I never thought you'd do anything with that. I just want you to quit crying." It's like, no. I said to him, I'm like, some days you just should lie to me. Just lie. Just out and out lie about it. So, in other words, I built this business on someone else's borrowed belief that wasn't even real. So why I'm telling you is just go ahead and believe in yourself. I wish I had done that sooner. I wish I had, you know what I mean, just said, that's right, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it, make it work. That's what I'm going to do. And instead, I borrowed belief that wasn't even real.
So, Lisa,
but, yeah.
Lisa, did husband number 2 see your success, your absolute success in Avon?
Well, he actually, we were married while I was earning 6 figures and stuff.
Oh.
So I think that,
he lives how well you did, yeah.
Yeah, he lives right near me too. He lives probably 4 or 5 miles from me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's just that I didn't realize that he didn't understand that the type of person I am is the front of the plane, back of the car. That's the type of person I am. I want to do great things, travel. I want to have big experiences, and he wants to be Grizzly Adams. So there isn't ever going to be a point where I want to kill my food before I eat it. And there isn't any, the 16 years we lived in the trailer park, we only used the wood stove. That isn't I didn't realize that he didn't understand that is not the lifestyle I'm interested in. So that's why we got divorced, is because we obviously were headed in different directions. He's looking for Mrs. Grizzly Adams, and that's not ever going to be me. So I did him a favor and released him so he could go find Mrs. Grizzly Adams. I don't think he actually, he knows what I do and he knows what I earn, but he doesn't value money like I do or achievement like I do. When we were getting divorced, he went to a therapist. I wouldn't go because I knew I was done already. And he came home and said, the therapist asked me one good quality about you. And he said the only thing I could think of was that you fold sheets good. Because he values domestic stuff and doesn't value a money earner. And that's okay. I don't, you know what I mean? It's not, I don't consider that a problem for him. It's just a problem for us staying married, because that's not ever going to be me. Domestic tasks is not something I'm interested in. I'm interested in doing what I do well, which is earn money, and paying other people to do the things that I don't do well, which is a lot of the domestic stuff. Does that make sense, Mary?
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
I actually don't consider him a bad person. I don't think we were well suited for each other. That's all. Yeah. But he does know what's going on.
Yeah.
But anyway, so when leadership came out, I actually was already in their program called sponsorship, which was only one generation, and you got a flat 5%. So they didn't encourage us to help the people or to interact with them or to sign them up. The employees did that. But I did those things anyway, because when they sold more, I got more. So I knew helping them would pay me more. So to me, it was an obvious thing to do. So when they came out with leadership, though, and that was going to be 3 generations, not just one, and it was a sliding scale what you got, I originally didn't want to do it. I actually thought it was going to ruin the company. I made fun of it and didn't want to do it. And then I found out, of course, they were going to do away with sponsorship, which makes sense because they're not going to have both programs. And so I did finally jump in, and that was in January 1993. I jumped in, though, with the express intent that I was going to make the top of the pay plan, which at that time it was called Senior Executive Unit Leader. I was going to make senior before I decided whether it was going to be worth it or not. So I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to stop doing volunteer work at the district. I'm going to stop doing everything and just make it to senior, and then I'll evaluate whether it's worthwhile to do or not. Because I just figured I wasn't going to really understand whether it was going to be worth it until I was getting the full amount of money that you could get at the top of the pay plan. And I'm glad that I did that. Everybody told me it was wrong. The district manager, which is a local employee at the time, I had to tell her, I'm not going to be able to set up at your meetings. I'm not going to do purchase order pickup. I'm not going to do all those things until I make senior. Everything has to go to the side for me to focus just on that. And she was not happy. She said, that's not going to work. And I did make senior. It was about 15 months I made it. And to me, it was, I drove everybody crazy. I was laser focused on that one thing, and everything had to be about that one thing. But it worked. And of course, once I made senior, it was worth it. So I think one of the things that was a hard lesson to learn too is that when you make the top of the pay plan, it's just not instant. You don't instantly have a lot of money. You don't instantly have a different lifestyle. It was over time that happened. I still, matter of fact, I made senior executive unit leader, and I think it was, 15 months would have been 1995, and I still lived in the trailer park until 2001. So I was actually earning 6 figures, and I still lived in the trailer park. And I used a lot of my profits to put back into my business. But the reason that is such a good idea is because now, all of these years later, 20, 30 years later, I still get paid more than most people that I know. Even when things have gone bad. We've had bad economies happen, 2, 3 times since then. And even when things have taken a big dip, my checks have too. But I still, in my worst months, I'm still making more than most people I know. And it's because I invested most of it way back at the beginning. I really believe that. So, Linda, did I miss something you wanted to hear in that?
Oh, I love your story, Lisa. I mean, one of the big things that as a team that we always are focusing on is believing in yourself, because like you said, that sometimes is the biggest hurdle. You have to, say, hey, once you believe in yourself and you do give it that laser focus, like you said, I remember when I joined in, I guess it was 1997, and one of the first booklets that they gave, I didn't even know who you were, that you were, up there, some way up there as an upline or whatever, but I see this Lisa Wilber in a book, and it was showing, you with leadership, and that, you were one of the top bonus earners. And it inspired me from the time I joined leadership that I wanted to be where you were from the very beginning.
It's funny, I didn't know at the time, which another lucky twist of fate, I think. At the time, I was the first one to make senior executive on the East Coast, and I didn't know that. So when I made it, I thought they just weren't telling me who the other seniors were because I wasn't a senior yet. So when I made it, when I made it, I was like, can I meet the other seniors now? And they're like, well, there's going to be a meeting coming up, but there was only 2 others, and they were in the other parts of the country. So I didn't know at the time. How I found out, they didn't, in the Newark branch, which is the East Coast, they hadn't processed a car payment yet. And so I called and I'm like, I'm ready for my car payment because I got the car allowance at senior. And they're like, well, it's going to be a little bit of a delay because we haven't done this before. And I'm like, huh? What do you mean you haven't done it before? And they're like, you're the first one to make it. I'm like, eh. And I think if I had known no one else had made it, I might have been a little scareder. I don't know if that's a real word, but I was kind of glad I didn't know that. So, but it all worked out good. And you know what? I wasn't able to get a new car write-off. The car allowance was just the car allowance. They didn't get you a car. So I think these things sometimes when those things happen, people get discouraged. Because I was so laser focused on making senior so I could get a car because I was driving a Yugo. And then I wasn't able to get a car write-off because I still would have had to get a car loan. And they wouldn't give me one because I'm making commission and living in a trailer. You know what I mean? They're not excited to loan me any money, so I had to save up and get one. But some other people might have let that discourage them building the business. So I think you have to, take bumps along the road that happen and not let anything wreck the big picture. Because your lifestyle doesn't necessarily change right away. There were lots of years when we were living in the trailer park that we're going to Avon trips and meetings in these big fancy hotels and meeting celebrities and eating fancy places. And then I'm going home and we get to the airport and I have to push start the Yugo because it wouldn't start on its own. So I was like living a dual life. And I think you have to not let that bother you. I just kept thinking, this is going to get better gradually over time, and I just have to give it that time. I have to just keep at it and keep working hard and give it the time it needs. You know what I mean? I just wanted to say that because I know a lot of people expect their life to change immediately, and that doesn't happen.
So Lisa, if in your opinion, why should somebody today, why should they consider building a team?
Well, to me, the two doing it makes logical sense to do leadership on one hand because when you're out there selling, there are people that you don't sell to because they're saying to you stuff like, I can't buy anything from you because I don't have any money. And they'll say, I hate my job or I hate my boss. If you don't have the opportunity to offer them, you don't have anything to offer them because they're not going to buy from you. So to me, it only makes logical sense to offer the opportunity because it's one of the products that we sell. To not do that, you're just stripping yourself and not able to serve everybody that you run into. The other thing, too, is I look at it as selling is the right now money. So you pretty much sell something you're going to earn within a few days your commission, where leadership is more like the 401k. The work that you do today, you're probably not going to earn until at minimum 6 months from now. And it's over time that you earn. So I wasn't getting big checks right off in leadership. It took a long time, and people were making fun of my choice to do leadership and that stuff. But what if I'd listened to them? What if I'd let that discourage me? I know in the business of team building like that, people take time to sign up and learn the business and get going. And the 20% that's going to rise to the top needs time to rise. So it's all a matter of you have to wait out the time. So if you sell for your right now money and invest in your 401k, which is leadership, I think that's the strategy that's worked for me. You know, the long haul is the leadership money.
And
Does that make sense?
And it's also the kind thing to do, because if you're only offering them one thing and that is not a good match for them, then you are prejudging whether this opportunity is for them or not. And that's just not a kind thing to do.
Well, I mean, it's not a kind business thing anyway, right? If like we're really in the service industry. I don't care what anybody says. We're really not in the makeup industry or the skincare. We're in the service industry, because people can go get those other things. Those are commodities, but we serve people. So if you're talking to someone and you need a way to serve them, sometimes it's the opportunity. And matter of fact, lots of times it's the opportunity. So to me, it only makes sense to have that tool in your tool belt. You're just walking away from money if you don't do leadership.
So Lisa, in your opinion, if somebody is looking at this and saying, you know what, I am wanting to start on this journey, what would be some tips that you would offer?
Well, I think one of the most important things is that change your mindset from I sell Avon to I buy and sell Avon. You know, you can either buy from me or you can sell with me. You know what I mean? It's all one thing, not to make it like a whole separate thing. It's part of your business now. So I help people buy products, and I also help people build an income if they want one. So it's all one big thing to me, and I serve customers and I serve my team members. So that's why I consider my job like a service job. That's what I do. So I think a lot of people have to fix that in their head, because they think they just sell Avon, and they don't realize that leadership is one of the products that we sell. So you have to have that in your head to be able to listen when you talk to people. Because most people, I don't know about you guys, but when you're talking to someone about Avon, lots of times they'll say it. They'll say stuff like, oh, my grandmother used to sell, I've always wanted to do that. And if you don't catch it and go, oh, you know what? They're having a deal right now where you can get in by giving a donation. You know what I mean? You want to catch it. And then if they say, oh, no, I don't really want to do it, that's fine too. I'll get you the products that you want. So you just want to serve, but you want to be able to listen to what people are saying. And you'll be surprised how many people will tell you right out that they want a business, they want an opportunity. So you want to have that in your mind. The other thing actually brings up, one of your team members said to me, they text me, and I wish I wrote down their name. I'm sorry I didn't remember who it was, but she said, how do you get the people you're on your team to engage? And what I wanted to make sure that I pointed out here is that it's going to be like anything else in life. There's going to be 20% of the people that are going to do something, and there's going to be like 80% that either buy personally or don't do that much. And you're not going to be able to get them to do it. You can be inspirational, you can provide them with information, you can give them recognition when they do things, but you're not going to be able to get people to do stuff, in my opinion. That's why you want to have an open ear to listening to what people say, because you're always going to need more and different people. You just are. That's the business that we're in. I'm still, even though I've been doing this for many years, I'm always going to need to put on new people. And I'm always going to need to find ways to let more people know what I do so that I can find new people. So just like you can't make somebody buy from you, you can't make somebody work their business. Either they are going to or they're not going to. And I don't beat myself up when someone doesn't, work the business, because maybe they signed up on a whim and changed their mind. Now I got the hiccup, sorry. Maybe they, when the signups are free or inexpensive, like $30, you do get a lot of people that sign up on a whim and don't do anything. So the best thing you can do, I think, is keep in touch with them, share information with them, and just be open for them to do what's best for them. So I don't try to get them to engage. I say, when the time is right for you, I'll be here for you. And that's it. If they ignore you, that's fine too. I just send them a birthday card once a year, or I find an excuse to keep in touch with them. And that's it. I try to do what's best for the other person. And for me, that's always worked out. Even when someone comes and says, I've decided I want to do something else, I said, oh, that's no problem, because I want you to do what's best for you. If you ever decide to come back, keep my number, because I can help you. I'll be here still. You can come back to me, and either if you want to buy some stuff or you want to start your team again, let's do it. But in the meantime, I wish you all the best for what you do want to do, because I want people to do what's best for them. And that's always worked. People come back to me because of it. Where if I tried to pressure them to stay, they don't necessarily come back. or pressure them to buy. You know, pressure doesn't really work, in my opinion. Building relationship and giving them the space to do what's best for them usually works, in my opinion.
Wow. Now, does anybody have questions for Lisa that you would like to ask her?
I do.
Okay.
Lisa.
Yes.
Lisa, did you find you were recruiting mainly your own customers, or did you go outside of that?
No, it's actually, I rarely recruit one of my own customers. Usually when I'm talking to somebody, because I just talk to people and just try to meet people, and I join groups so I get to meet different people. So, for example, if I'm talking to someone at the grocery store, I don't try to recruit them, but lots of times, you know, when you first meet somebody, there's a point where they say, what do you do? Either that, or they see me walk into my van, and I got a big old sign on my van. I also join clubs, and I join stuff about my other interests. The beginning of last year, I joined the Go-Giver Success Alliance, which is Bob Berg's group based on the Go-Giver book. I expressly joined that to meet new people, because I felt like I wasn't meeting new people. And the only way my business has worked all these years is because I continuously meet new people. And I don't mean that I'm trying to recruit them, but now, like with the Success Alliance, there's a couple hundred people in the Success Alliance that all know me, and they know what I do. And because of that, I've gotten a lot of referrals and a lot of orders and some signups. And it wasn't from them guys, it was from people they knew. So I just continuously try to put myself places where I'm going to meet new people. And I don't it's not a hunting trip trying to get everybody to do what I'm doing or trying to get everybody to buy from me. All I'm trying to do is get people to know what I'm doing. So when I wake up every day, I just try to get more people to know what I do. And that's worked for me. Mary, does that make sense? Did Mary get off?
Yes, it does. I was muted.
Oh, okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. So is this an online group that you joined, or is this a different type of group?
Well, I mean, that particular one happens to be because I joined it when we were still, everything was online. But I've done things like the American Businesswomen's Association and gone to their spring conferences for years, and those were in person. And met a whole bunch of new people that way. I've been on Facebook, I'm in cat groups and dog groups and stuff like that where I meet different people. It's just meeting new people and making new connections. And I don't do it for the express intent to sell them or recruit them. I do it just to make new connections. And when you do that, when enough people know you, you know when you meet somebody new, one of the things that always comes up after a while is what? What do you do? Yeah. Right? So it's just find ways to meet new people. You know, maybe go to your local gym, maybe join the Chamber of Commerce, maybe there's a women's networking group. The other thing that I always have a good luck with is like my kids into theater. So I get to meet new theater parents because I'm sitting with them waiting for stuff. And when I look for stuff to do where I'm going to meet new people, one of the projects I'm working on right now is my property in New Hampshire happens to be the location for one of the battles of the Revolutionary War before the Boston Tea Party. So
Wow.
they're doing a reenactment next April. Now, I volunteered to be part of that because I knew I was going to meet a whole bunch of people I never met before. And then I decided to join the theater part because my kid's into theater and he wanted to do the play anyway. So now I've met a whole bunch of people that I didn't know, and I decided to have the auditions for the theater thing at my house at the end of the month because the public buildings here were closed. And now I've got a whole bunch of people I've never met before coming to my house. And what's cool about that, oh, I'm echoing. What's cool about that is when I get to meet people I don't know, they find out what I do just by driving in my yard, usually because of the van.
Yeah,
so
that was my next question. I had to ask you about the van at some point because, of the pig roast was awesome. You did such a nice job. Everything was great. But as soon as I parked my car, I'm like, oh my God, look at that van. I've never seen anything like it.
Well, and I didn't start out with it like that. I had the Yugo. And I took a white piece of paper and a black magic marker and I wrote Avon and the phone number and taped it in the windows.
Wow.
And then I went to magnetics and then I did vinyl letters. And then I was on an Avon trip and I saw a PT Cruiser with a vinyl wrap on it for Coca-Cola. And I'm like, oh, I'm getting that with that. So I had to, at that time, they didn't have a sign company on every street like they do now. I had to get someone from Canada to come do that first wrap.
Wow.
But I just look around and see what other businesses are doing. And then I say, how could I do that too? And that's how I got the wrap on my car. But it's so effective. I get people stop me all the time. What's funny with those too is you can't, I have people say the car wrap's expensive and I want to know exactly how many people you've gotten from that. And I personally don't think that that's a measurable thing because people don't usually tell me all of the places they saw me. You know what I mean? And if I do ask people or if I talk to them later for some other reason, usually they'll say something like, you know what, I saw a poster on a bulletin board and I pulled a little tab, which was my poster, but I lost it in my wallet, so I looked up online and then I found somebody and then I didn't call then either and I happened to see you out in the van. Well, I try to be everywhere. All three of those things were me. So that's what I'm only thinking is how can I get enough people to know what I'm doing? How can I get my name out there again? How can I get people to connect me with Avon? So if you do enough things like that, that's how you get, people to come to you, I think. So it's just not the one van. It's the van and the posters and the online thing. It's a combination of all that stuff.
Oh yeah, you have like such a nice friendly personality and you're easy to talk to, so that I'm sure that helps you. Yeah,
thank you.
I remember Lisa was going around the country and she was doing seminars, and so she was coming somewhere near my area and it was like, oh, I need to sign up for this and go to it. And the girl walks in, she gets to the front of the room, everybody in the room can't wait to hear her, and she goes, you know what? First thing that has to go is my shoes. And off goes those shoes. It was like down to earth, because honestly, everyone knows this name. And, sometimes you think that this person is not approachable. And Lisa, you are one of the most approachable individuals that I know of. So, thank you for being the person that you are. But yes, very down to earth.
You know what's so funny? I did an interview today for Robert Peterson, and it was an interview I got on his podcast. Bob Berg set it up for me for the Go-Giver, and he was funny because he kept saying, and I hear this a lot, he's like, "You're so authentic." But to me, I don't understand the concept, I guess, because I've never tried to be somebody else. And when someone tried to get me to be somebody else, I was offended by that. So I don't, it would be too hard to do. I don't understand why people want to do that. So like I've had Avon corporate people say, you know what, you should do a makeover, or you should do this and that. And I'm thinking, take me as I am or watch me as I go. And I think customers don't mind because I don't, and actually team members that I sign up don't either, that I'm not polished and make-upped and all that stuff, because I don't think a potential team member wants fancy as much as they want to see themselves. And I think customers are like that too. They want me to be relatable. And the only way I'm going to do that is to be me, not some spiffed up version of me that's not really me. So that's what I love about direct sales, is that I can be me. You know what I mean? I don't know how to be somebody else, so I had to pick a profession where I could just be me. I just think it's pretty cool. I get like props from other people for being authentic when I don't even know. I don't know how to do anything else. I don't know how to be unauthentic.
Okay, does anybody else have a question for Lisa?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Hi, Lisa. My question is, most of my customers are between like 65 and 110. It's more like now since I started Avon. I'm trying to attract some younger individuals. I do work a part-time job at a local store. And I just have more interest, and again, I feel like more focused today. I don't know if it's selling. And I don't know how to get young people. Everybody with products doing this to become a representative. But you know, we very touched on some things earlier.
Vera, hold on a second. Is everybody else here can follow you when she's talking?
I'm not understanding what you're saying that well.
Okay, Vera, for whatever reason, maybe you shut that through your mic. Try it again.
Okay. Can you hear me better? Is that
It's
better?
just a lot of feedback, that's all.
Yes. So
What's that? Maybe I have it too loud. Let me turn my mic down some. Is this better?
it's getting better
Is it a little bit more clear?
a little bit.
Can I
A little bit clear?
can I say what I think that you're asking, and then you can tell me if I've got it or not?
Yes.
Are you saying that your customer base is mostly older? Is that what you're
Yes.
saying? Okay.
Yes.
So is your question that you want them to go online, or is that not what you were looking for?
I want to reach a younger generation.
Oh, you want to reach a younger audience?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I think it would be where you're getting your name out to. I personally don't mind. I don't shoot for a particular audience, but if I was trying to do that, I would think to myself, where do the people that I want to sell to go? You know, where do they eat? What do they do? Do they go to the laundromat? And then try to find ways to be there. You know, maybe it's on the bulletin board at the laundromat. Maybe if you're going after like 20-something, many of them don't have washers and dryers. They're going to be at the laundromat. So I think if you put yourself in the position of the person you're trying to have on your team, and if that's younger, then think, where do the younger people hang out? What do they do? What do they buy? Where do they eat? And then maybe find ways to be there. And I don't mean be there physically. I mean, you know, put your books there, or find ways to be in those groups on Facebook, or find ways to, like maybe they're going to Planet Fitness and you could go there. But I would look at it backwards from who you want to be in, and then work backwards to where you think that they're doing, what you think they're doing. Does that make sense? Why do you want to have younger people because you're afraid your base is getting smaller? Is that what you're thinking?
I would just like a clients and customers.
You just want to have younger customers?
Variety of images. And I don't have no age limit.
Right. Yeah. I personally don't mind either way. To me, I just want a lot of people to know what I do. And that's what I wake up every day thinking, how can I get more people to know what I do? So I don't mind what age they are. I don't go for a particular demographic. I just wake up every day and say, how can I get more people to know what I do? Like today's interview that I did with Robert Peterson, he'd never met me, so he didn't know me. None of his listeners have ever heard of me before, as far as I know. So I got exposed to a whole bunch of new people today just by volunteering to be on his podcast. So I've done that before I'd done things like that. So you're thinking to yourself probably, who's going to ask me, because I haven't done things like that. At the beginning, what I did was I wrote articles for publications within our industry. And that's how I got to get some interviews out of it. So in today's terms, you could write articles for online forums or online groups that deal with direct sellers or that deal with makeup or whatever you like to concentrate on within our line, and get known as someone who knows about the business. And then you're likely to get things like interviews on podcasts or interviews in magazines and stuff. And then a whole bunch more people find out what you do. But there's a million ways that you can get people to find out what you do. So every day, if you wake up and say, how am I going to get more people to know what I do today? That's my strategy.
Okay, thank you. You're very welcome. Thank you.
Okay, I hope that helps.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, anybody else have a question for Lisa? And Lisa, I know whenever you have to go, you just make sure you let us know.
That's okay. They're not getting out for a little bit.
Okay. Anybody else have a question for Lisa?
Lisa, do you set yourself a goal, like you want to get so many recruits per month, or do you do a review of what you've got and then go, oh, I'm down last month with your...
I was doing that more when we had the requirements for our levels to have so many, but now I look at it a little bit different because it's volume requirements that we have to do. So what I'm most interested in is serving people, and when I serve enough people, I usually meet the requirements. So I'm not necessarily wanting to sign up a certain number of people per month, but on the other hand, I do know that if I'm not signing up at least 2 or 3 a campaign, I'm going to go backwards in my number, because direct sales is a business that has big turnover. So if you're not adding at least 2 or 3 people, you're not going to stay ahead and grow. You're going to end up contracting your numbers. So you do want to have at least 2 or 3, and way more than that if you want to, grow a lot. But to me, it's more important to be serving people and finding people that are a good fit. I don't know if you read that book by John Gordon, but it's The Energy Bus, the guy that he spoke at our convention a couple years ago. So to me, it's more important to find the right people on the bus, because then I'm not having to chase them to place an order or holding their hand. If I have the right person on my bus, they're out there working this business, and I'm just supporting them. So I do get people that shouldn't be on the bus. I get that too. It's just that I'm looking for people that are the right fit. Go ahead, Carolyn, what were you going to say?
What would you consider the good fit? What kind of personality traits are you looking for?
It's not personality traits. It's show me. So I have people say to me all the time, I'm going to do fabulous things with this. I'm a go-getter. I've done great things with the other business, and they want me to spend time and money on them. And to me, they have to show me. I'm not going to do it till you show me. So I'm not going to want to spend a lot of time and money on somebody on their say-so that they're going to do something, because this is a pretty easy business. You know what I mean? Even if you're not good at it, you can stick a book in someone's hands and say, hey, if you want something, what can I get for you? This is an Avon book. You want something out of there? You could really even dub it up pretty bad and get orders every day if you did that enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if you're not even willing to do that, there's nothing that I'm going to be able to do for you that's going to get you over the hump. So I'm looking for some results before I'm going to want to invest in someone.
Right.
So when someone just is talking, so to me they've got to, buy the kit. That's the and not. I have people call me and say, "Well, I signed up. What are you going to do?" And I'm like, "Hey, did you make your customer list? How many people have you told that you're started your business?"
Right.
And if they say nobody, I'm like, "Well, what were you waiting for?"
Right.
And they're like, I was waiting for you to come up and train me or whatever. But the ones that really have worked out in this business weren't waiting for me.
Right.
Right. I was the cherry on their sundae. I wasn't the whole sundae.
Right.
So, and that's what I want is self-starters, go-getters, people that I find out about them because they're doing good.
Right.
And there are people like that out there. It's about 20%. So you're going to end up with a bunch of people that sign up and do nothing, and that's okay. I still support them. Sometimes, too, it's the 80% people, it's the time in their life. Something happens or it wasn't right after all or whatever, and later on they do something.
Right.
So I still give everybody a basic level of support. They still get birthday cards. They still get anniversary certificates. They still can be in the group. They still, you know what I mean? I want everybody to feel the love.
Yeah.
But the ones that are going to get my time and money investments are the top people that are doing something.
Right. Gotcha.
So I think that that's only prudent as a business owner for me to do that.
Right.
Does that make sense? So I don't discount anybody. It was funny, the district manager way back when she was training me, the local employee, she would not sign up people that were dirty or smelly. And I said, hey, I don't think that's a reason to discount people, because there are other dirty, smelly people they could sell to. You know what I mean? Right? Because you're going to sell to people that'll like you. So I said, the ones that I don't like are the ones that yammer on about how much they're going to do, and then they don't do anything.
Right.
I would take a smelly person all day long. You know what I mean? And I don't wear makeup hardly ever. That doesn't bother me at all. So to me, it's all in the, can you take a book, put it in someone's hands and say, would you like something out of that?
Right.
To me, that's where the rubber hits the road, is if someone's willing to get an order.
Yep. Gotcha. Thank you.
Does that make sense? Sure.
Yes. And you answered my other question. I was the one that texted you before and asked how do you get them to stick? So
I'm sorry I didn't write down your name, and I did that other interview between then and now, so I was like, oh no.
I appreciated that.
Now, did we talk about that? Because in the message you sent me, you were saying like somebody came on and they're ignoring you and they're not interacting with you. And so from what I said, did you get how you can go forward with that?
Absolutely. I think the big thing I'm taking away from today is not to take it personally if they say they sign up and then they don't do anything about it.
Yes. Yes. Because that's going to happen a lot.
Right.
It's not going to be a reflection of you in any way.
Right. And also you're talking about percentages. 20% of people are going to do what you want, 80% maybe or whatever. So I guess another big thing that I'm taking away is that you really do need to canvas lots and lots of people to do that cherry picking that you were saying, to get those people that you want on your team that's going to help you move forward, but also for you to help them to grow in the business.
Well, and you know, they don't wear signs either, unfortunately. So they don't say, I'm the one that's going to work out. There are people that are executive unit leaders in my team that when I met them and they first were going, I wouldn't have pegged them, because either they're really bashful or whatever, but they were able to produce the results.
Right.
So the best I think that you can do is every day get up and make it so that more people know what you do. More people know that you offer products and you offer an opportunity. And just every day do that more and more and more. And you'll end up having people attracted to you to buy stuff and attracted to you to sign up on your team. Right. And then over time, it builds like a snowball going downhill.
Right.
You know, over time. I know I didn't say this on this call yet, but since I joined leadership in January 93, my cumulative earnings are over $6 million. That's cumulative just from leadership, not my product sales. I literally do not have the background to earn that kind of money any other way. I mean, I was a convenience store worker. So, I mean, it definitely can be worth it. You just have to stick it out and know that the reward is delayed in this kind of business leadership. When you build a team, the reward is delayed. So the things you have to like be thankful for at the beginning are, like we were just in Los Angeles for a meeting, and I got to stay at the swanky Pretty Woman Hotel, and you get to see all these little lifestyle changes as they happen in your life, but it's not like a switch where all of a sudden you're doing really well. It builds over time, and the more people you attract, then a certain percent of those are going to work out, and then you take those and go work with some more people, and a percent of those work out, and it just builds over time. But it's amazing as time goes by how awesome this is. I don't know how to tell you, but it's awesome.
And so, and I think the other thing, patient. And I'm one of those people that's not patient. I want it instant, and I want to build my team now. And then, you know, when they say no, 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 and it's like, okay, what am I doing wrong? Where do I go to next? You know, so I really thank you to say, you know, over time, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So I'm going to have to work on that.
You know, it's funny. I'm so, I don't want to say anal about that, but I'm so used to that being what happens that I'm playing a new game with my kid, the video game. It's Animal Crossing. And what's funny is I can't make myself spend the money you get in the video game. I'm planting and harvesting to get more coins, and I don't spend any of them. I'm driving the kid crazy because that's what I'm used to doing in real life. Right. You know what I mean? I know that if I see with the game, you can take a carrot and plant it and get more carrots, or you can go sell a carrot and that's it. Right. So I'm not selling my carrots, I'm planting them all. So I've got like the whole island planted. And I think that's the same with this business, is that it gets to be a game where delayed gratification is more fun because you know the upside is so big. Right. But it is hard, though. I get that. I think the hardest was I was getting a bunch of recognition for my personal sales. And then I had to pull back a little bit from being counsel, selling so much, to doing leadership. And back then they didn't have the recognition for that they do today. So there was this gap of a couple of years where I wasn't getting recognized, and I felt like I was a failure. And in reality, it was just because they hadn't come up with leadership recognition yet. So I think that was the hardest part for me. I liked the recognition, and I didn't get it when I had to switch to leadership. So everyone was questioning my decision to invest so heavily into leadership, and then I wasn't getting recognized too. So it made me briefly question my strategy. And then luckily I stuck it out, and then they started including us on the trips, and they started, the pay started getting better, and it's just sticking it out. It's a long haul situation for leadership but I'm speechless to tell you how great. I mean, the difference in my life is unbelievable. You would not even recognize the other me. It's just unbelievable. I mean, I spent 16 years in a single wide trailer in a trailer park driving a Yugo. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with trailers and trailer parks. It's just that I didn't grow up as a little girl saying, "Oh, I hope I get to live in a trailer park." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now I have a big, nice house, and I stand out. You know what? I have a dumpster because we're a big office. I have an office. I stand at the dumpster, which is the farthest point away from the house, and look back at my house, and I beat my chest. And I'm like, yes, I did that. I built that. I'm the one that's responsible for that house right there. And it makes me feel so good. And we all can have that kind of victory, but it's a matter of working every day and sticking it out. Even when people make fun of you, even like I get accused a lot in my family of not paying attention to everybody's birthdays, or paying attention to everybody's, going to the little kid events when it's not my kid, all those things all these years. But I'm the one that's in the position to, I want to say, steer the family legacy away from grinding it out in poverty. Because our family's been grinding it out in poverty for decades, and I'm the one that's not doing that. And I had to make some sacrifice along the way. I didn't attend one of my friends' weddings over it. You know what I mean? Because I had booked myself into an event. But to me, those sacrifices were worth it to have the freedom that I have today.
Right.
But so I don't know. You just have to decide, I think, what you want, how bad you want it, and what you're willing to put into it.
Right. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. That was wonderful.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Yeah, I remember, Lisa, and it was probably, again, when I first started wasn't probably with Avon very long, way back, way back in the day. Lisa was sending out a newsletter. And I remember getting that newsletter, and it was showing like the top people. It was like in the newsletter. Dixie, what was it, Lisa? Dixie, what was your name?
Oh, no, it was the Yankee Peddler.
Yankee, yes. Yankee Peddler. But in it was like it showed her top people. And I remember whenever I opened it, it was like, oh my gosh, I can do that. So that, again, that belief in yourself, that when you have something to measure it by, that people are doing a certain level, and then you're thinking, well, I can do that too. And that belief can really, really move you in this business, but you have to know what it is that you're wanting.
And do you remember the newsletter? Every once in a while I would handwrite it. It wasn't even that fancy.
Handwrite it. She would show, like the earnings, and yes, but it was great.
Yeah, it's just
to date is still wonderful. Now now we just have other options of doing it that make it.
Yeah, the group.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this, make sure you join not just Linda's group, but the big group too, because what the benefit is of course there's no cost, and there's 10 generations of people in the big group. And usually if you need information in a hurry, you can go in there and somebody's bound to be online. I think that's what the benefit of that is there's 2,500 people in that group, I think. So it's nice to be in both groups. The smaller group with Linda's, I don't mean smaller that way, but you know what I mean, Linda. Smaller because it's more intimate with fewer people, but it's also good to be in the big group with a couple thousand people, just because there's people with, there's people that have been in a week, and there's people that have been in 40 years, and there's people that are selling just a little bit, and then there's people selling counsel. So you get all kinds of backgrounds, and it's you get some answers if you have problems and stuff quicker.
Okay, so anybody else have questions for Lisa?
I have a question.
Hi, Lori.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Lori.
Lori.
Hi, Lori.
Hi, everybody. I wanted you to go way back to 1993 when you first started recruiting, when you didn't have all these strategies in place. How did you approach people? I mean, what was your line to draw them in?
Well, what's funny is even then, I'm an introvert, so there wasn't any just going up to people and recruiting. I know that's what you're used to hearing, and that's what the district manager's trained to, is approaching people and trying to get them in the business. But I've never done that, not even at the beginning. So the thing that I've used all along is I just try to get a conversation going, and then try to see what avenue they're looking for. So I don't leave the house trying to get recruits or orders. I'm just trying to serve people. So, and that was true back then. So if I'm talking to someone, like if I'm talking to someone in line or in the waiting room at the sports thing waiting for my kid or something like that, usually I'll say something so that they know I sell Avon. And I don't say I sell Avon. What I'll say is, are those Avon earrings? And they'll either say yes or no. And I'll say, they look like ones we sold last year. Okay. So now she knows I sell because of what I said. And then usually they'll say something like, oh, you sell Avon? My grandma used to sell Avon. Then you have to, they have a story about Avon usually. And then do you have a book with you? Or they'll say, I've been thinking about getting it again or something. So I usually do something that's non-committal. I'm not trying to get people. I'm trying to just let them know what I do. And I've been doing that from the beginning. That wasn't new. Way back in the beginning, and I still do that now, I do put, when I put stuff out, I always have put to buy or sell. To buy or sell Avon. That I've done from the very beginning, and I try to put stuff out all over the place, just like I did at the beginning. But I never had the personality that I wanted to just try to get people to do what I wanted them to do. I didn't think I wouldn't want someone to do that to me. You know what I mean? So I just talk to people regular, and it usually comes up one way or the other. But by the way, the earring thing, I know whether they're Avon earrings or not, but I use that as like a conversation starter so that I can tell them you know what I mean? Go ahead, what were you going to say?
So do you remember the conversation you had with the first person you recruited?
See, I don't even know who the first person was. It's hundreds of people ago, that's why. Okay. I'm not even sure. No, and I've done stuff like posters on bulletin boards. I do the mini posters in my books. I've done stuff like that. The things I remember more are the ones that didn't work. You know what I mean? I had a customer probably 25 years ago. She signed up to sell Avon, and when I ran into her somewhere, she didn't sign up with me. I ran into her, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry I stopped buying from you, but I signed up. And I'm like, oh, why didn't you sign up with me? And then she said, oh, I didn't know you did that. And I was already a senior executive at that point. So from then on, I never didn't put the little ad in my book. So those things I remember more of the goofs that I had to fix. Like I've always put the ads in the books after that because it irritated me so bad that she didn't know I had a team. You know what I mean? So I remember the goofs more than the first person. I don't remember who that was. I do know one of my first people that's still with me today actually is Brenda Rulo, and she's from a town about 60 miles from me. She's in my first generation. She was right at the first year she signed up. She's an introvert like I am, and she lives in my state. I got her from a newspaper ad that I ran over in her town, and we had to do all our own sign-ups, so I remember signing her up. And she's with us today. She was a bronze executive leader. Right now, I think she happens to be gold leader. But I do remember some like that, but she wasn't the first person I ever signed up.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Thank you.
Sure.
Great questions. Anybody else have a question for Lisa? While they're thinking about it, Lisa, you know, whenever you started in the beginning, you didn't have people like all over the place. You were more or less limited to right where you live. And you live in a very small state. Am I correct on that?
It wasn't ever that we were limited to where we could sign people up. The limit was you had to sign them up in person yourself.
Okay, right. Okay, yep.
So I traveled to sign people up. I used to go 2-3 hours every direction. I went around since I made senior pretty early on, so I was going around. Once I made senior and was the only one, Avon had me go around speaking and stuff, and then I booked myself going around speaking after that. And everywhere I tried to either advertise ahead or while I was there, see if I couldn't find some people that might be interested or put up bulletin board ads and stuff, or talk to people at hotels and try to get referrals. But I tried to spread out as much as I could, as fast as I could. And it's for just the reason you said. It's because I live in rural New Hampshire where there's not many people. And the only way that I thought that I could compete with the other representatives in leadership was to not be all right here. Plus, I knew if we had a bad winter, my check was going in the toilet. Because we can sometimes get buried in the snow in October and we don't thaw out until April. That would not be good for my check. So I knew early on that I wanted to spread out. So I made it a point to either, I went as far one time I flew to Idaho and signed somebody up. That didn't work out even. She didn't work out. But I did it, and I took a lot of chances like that because I knew it would be the death of my check to have everybody right around me. I just knew that. That's why companies do it. The companies spread out. Because if there's some big natural disaster and you have everybody right near you, so spreading out is very, very good. I don't know how else to say it. You want to see Bo? Say hi, Bo. Did you see him?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Yeah, right now we have people in every single state on our team. And I don't want to say who it is, but one of the other bronze executives, excuse me, she lives in, or did, she used to live in New Orleans. And when Katrina hit, it took her years to get back up there to title. And she did not realize, and I don't think to this day realizes, that spreading out is a strategy. You need to spread out, and I mean a big area. And when I talked to her even a couple years ago about it, she said, well, I got people all the way up to the top of the state. And I'm thinking, no, I'm talking Chicago. You know what I mean? You know, you want to be far away from you. And it's not for any other reason, but you lessen your risk if there's some big thing that happens, like a hurricane or, you know, up here it's snow. Big things that happen, you want to spread out your team members. So take every chance that you can. Like if you have relatives in other states, maybe say to them, do you know anybody that might want to do this with me? I'm looking for someone in Oregon, or I'm looking for someone out in California. I want to spread out some. And you'd be surprised, people do have some referrals for you.
And the nice thing is now they can just go to your online store and join with
Oh,
them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know, the corporate people at the time, when we first were getting internet and stuff, I was literally campaigning and bugging them to have online appointments because I'm probably the one that would benefit the most from it, because I don't live in a place, I live far from everything. And I knew it was going to be the difference between me being able to get in the top percentage and me not being able to get in the top percentage. And sure enough, it made that big of a difference. But if you ask like Angie Rossi, for example, he'll tell you, I made a pain of myself. I was campaigning for that. I was bugging them because I knew how much of a difference it would make. So
Thank you.
Awesome.
Anybody else have questions for Lisa? Wow. Well, Lisa, I'm telling you what, I'm going to go on to looky there. When we're talking about building a team.
Oh. The pig roast too.
Pig roast, and hubby and I were supposed to be there, and doggone it, just hated missing it. But this is the other thing about what's so nice about being a team is because it is you have that partnership and friendships with so many people, and all these people just pulling for you, and you can strategize together and build your businesses together. So over the years, I am telling you what, as you can see, we have done different events, been there. Are you guys seeing pictures of yourself in there?
Yes.
Yes. So many different times that we have been together, having fun, building our businesses. And Lisa, I wanted to, but I think you had the picture on yours. When was it that it was? I think one of the first Mexico trips. You, I think, had taken a picture there, and I looked for that picture today. Here is Dana. Dana is our upline as well. That's Dana and I in Mexico. And there's Mary. Mary's our upline as well. And that was her in California. So you guys see, oh, look, this was Bermuda. I think that was Bermuda, wasn't it, Lisa? This one down here. Can you see it?
Oh, and I'm not sure anymore. I've gone to so many. I don't even know.
I think that this was Bermuda before we even started to take off. But so much fun. And then
I can't even imagine a business where you would get the opportunities we get in this company, in this business. I can't even imagine, at least for me, because I don't have the skills to work a job that you would get this kind of compensation and this kind of recognition and this kind of opportunities to travel and stuff. It's just been outrageously awesome.
How many trips have you gone on? Do you have any idea, Lisa?
I think it's like 40, but I'm counting ones that weren't necessarily incentives. So like I got to go to England and Ireland where they paid for my ticket and all that because I was speaking, and I count those because to me they were free trips that they paid for, but they weren't necessarily incentives.
Ah.
So it's 40 something, but I mean. That's outrageous.
Hey, a team member just asked a question, Leslie. She said, and she put this in the chat. She says, I just missed the opportunity to have a representative join my team, and she said she didn't have a computer. She wanted me to drive to her to sign her up. I wasn't able to do that. I offered to call her and sign her up over the phone, but she said she found someone that would come to her. Do you have any solutions for this type of situation?
I actually don't know how she's going to do the business unless she has internet access and a computer. She can go to the library to have it, but I don't know how she's going to do the business without it anymore. They don't allow paper purchase orders. They're going to charge her a fee to call in her order without using the computer. So she's going to get discouraged. So to me, I'm not sure I would have signed her up if she told me that. I would say, I need to hear your plan. Are you going to have the use of somebody's computer, like a neighbor, or are you going to go to the library? I want to hear your plan, because I'm not trying to get people. I'm more like interviewing for people to be on my team. I'm not just trying to get everybody. You know what I mean? They got to be a good fit. And in this day and age, I'm not sure that she could do a business without having a computer. So it's not that I wouldn't sign her up, but I want to hear the plan. What's the plan if she doesn't have a computer? So don't feel bad that you didn't go do that. She should have been explaining to you, or maybe you should have asked her, say, I'm wondering how you're going to do this business with no computer, since Avon requires the orders to be submitted that way. So let me hear your plan, because your time is the most valuable thing here. She's an unproven commodity. So your time, you need to like vet people like you're not hiring them, but like you were. So if they don't have a computer, I'd want to know the plan.
And she said, thank you, that made sense to her as well.
Oh, good. Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Now, I'm not going to go over any of this, guys, because this is right on. If you go to avon.com and you click on bring a friend, all of this information is there. So I just wanted to kind of just give you a glimpse of number one, why more for you, more income, more fun, teamwork. This is all, you'll see this right there on avon.com. And then this says why they're going to love joining your team. Again, this information is there. Here's all the perks.
Oop, and I got to get going, because here come the kids.
Oh, Lisa, thank you so very much.
Thank you. And anytime that you want, reach out if you have questions that I didn't get to, okay?
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Lisa.
Okay.
Bye.
Hi, Lisa.
Okay, so that's all on the website. It tells you how to recruit. There's all these sections right there. Here are some of the images that you can use under the advertising. So like when you bring a friend, you'll see that these pages are at the bottom, and you can see it says advertising. When you hit go, here are just a few of the images that are up there that you can share with people. Here is that flyer, beauty of our business. Sometimes when people ask me for additional information, I can just send this to them, and that's enough information for them to say, oh, wow, I want to be a part of this business as well. So make sure that you're using the resources that we have that are available to us to help you build your business as well. Here's the compensation plan. You don't have to understand every single level, but where are you? What's the next level? What do you need to do in order to get to that next level? You have questions about the compensation. There's an Avon U. They have some training there. You can reach out to me and call Avon, but we'll answer your questions and help you understand. And for me, you know, I liked, like I said in the beginning, I knew that I wanted to be at the top level, just like what Lisa had said, but I would focus on what's the next level, what's the next thing that I need to do, what do I need to do to make bronze executive leader, what do I now need to do to make senior executive. So or silver, I meant, you used to be that silver executive leader. So where are you? What's the steps for the next one? And if you can focus on that, it might not seem so overwhelming or such a huge task for you. Then here, this is in Avon U. Choose your recruiting path. That's some really good information there. All you have to do is put in recruiting path, and that will pop up. Or, you know, when I send the replay on this again. Then also make sure that you are looking at the business policies and procedures for Avon independent sales representatives, so you know what you can do, what you can't do. That proviso has ended. I think it ended January 2nd. So we are back to the limitations as far as like what's in the business policies and procedures. So go there. Look through it, see like what you know, like if you're wanting to do paid advertising, go to that section and it'll outline what you can and can't do. Advertising overall, it'll tell you what you can and can't do as a representative. So make sure that if you have questions or you're wondering, you can go there. You can also reach out to Avon. You know, Lisa just kind of said it just a few seconds ago. Success is falling 9 times and getting up 10. Don't think about, you know, what's not working. Let's, you know, we have to focus on just what did she say? She just wanted to get in front of more people and let more people know what she was doing. So not every single person that we reach out to is going to want to be on our team, want to buy from us. But if we make that our mission, that we're wanting to reach out to more people, what will happen? Will we find some people that do want to join us? Yes. Right?
Yes.
I don't get it yet. Oh, thank you, Lori. So glad you're here tonight, by the way. Okay.
What's that?
I said, we're so glad that you're here tonight. You're looking mighty fine.
Still coughing, but yes.
Okay. I'm wanting you to feel better. Okay, so as we're not ending yet, but success, see what success is. Set that goal, understand the obstacles, create a positive outlook, clear your mind of any self-belief. Isn't that the same thing as saying believing in yourself? So, you know, it doesn't matter how we word all of this stuff. It all comes down to, you know, doing business building activities. What's on that goal? And like Lisa said, you might have some sacrifices, but once you know what it is that you're wanting, then things are in alignment with that or they're not. So then when you get to it, then you can always say, oh, well, I wasn't able to do that before, but now I can add this in. But, you know, it's going to feel pretty amazing if you reach that goal. So stay the course, stay on track, and show the world you can do it. Okay. Don't judge who this opportunity is good for and who it is not. Let the prospect decide. That's the kind thing to do. All we do is share. Like Lisa was saying, she says she just kept wanting to let more people know what she does, period. I mean, that seems pretty easy, right? That seems like something that we can all do. And just go for that. Yes. Here are a few ideas on the screen about different ways that you can share. Lisa was saying that she's joining a lot of groups. She's out doing outreach in her community, meeting new people. Just think about, you know, for you personally, like, you know, you might not have someone in theater. Okay, so that might not be a good way for you to meet people in your community, but hey, you might want to join the Chamber of Commerce. Or you might be very passionate, like Mary, we know you're very passionate about animals. So you might want to, you know, be in a group about animals, and you're pursuing your interest, but so you're being very authentic to who you are, but you're also meeting new people who could or may not be interested in what you have, but they might know other people who are interested or want to be a part of your opportunity. So that's what I said. It really does come down to, we just have to share and let people know. Let more people know who you are, period. Some will want to join you as a representative. Some will want to buy from you. Some will refer you to others. The goal is, let's just get the word out that, hey, we have services and we're happy to be of service to you and whatever it is that you need. So who's going to Cancun?
Me.
Yes, yes. Do we want the warmth? Do you hear the ocean right now?
I'm thinking of margaritas and cocktail umbrellas.
There you go. There you go. Now, Carolyn, I know that you already know what what you need to do in order to get there because we had that conversation. But here are the qualifications to get on this trip. So we have to know what it is that we need to do. Then we have to break that down into what do I need to do everything in order to make that happen, right?
Right.
Okay. So if you guys have questions about this, again, it's here. We can continue the conversation, you know, one day this week. Just let me know a few times that are good for you. Get on my calendar and we will discuss you and your business. You guys have seen this before. The secret Okay, what do you want? Be very clear on what you want. This is the beginning of the year. Thank you to those of you who have submitted your vision boards, me boards, and dream boards. Your happy mail will be coming to you. You still have time to do that. Okay, so if you are vision board to me so that you can get the lip balms and the package to you as well. Let's see here. Focus on what you want. Think about what it'll feel like. Like Lisa had said, she wanted to wait until she got to that top level and then she was going to assess it. But then, you know, when she was able to get there, I'm sure, you know, finding out that she was the first one, that feeling, you know, so really visualize, you know, okay, I'm wanting to do this, and when I do this, this is how I'm going to treat myself, but visualize how it's going to make you feel. I think that that can really, really keep us in, you know, focused on what our dreams are. What actions do you need to take? Put it out to the universe. Knowing what you want is incredibly powerful, period. Okay, so we need to know that. Save the date. Our next team chat will be in February. If there are specific oh, Phyllis, I'm sorry that you have to leave. I'm so glad that you were able to be here for it. So it will be February 7th, so mark your calendars. Now, I had planned on doing the raffle right here on the call. I will wait. That's one of the things I love about GoToMe, because I can see who was on the call and then make sure that everybody gets into the drawing, and I will give away that bundle. So somebody will be the lucky winner, and it'll be $100 of samples and products. Oh, Kimberly just told me she's going to Cancun. Okay, Kimberly, I'm glad to hear that. So who agrees with me when I say success is a decision? Yes?
Yes.
Okay,
Definitely.
so are we choosing? Yay! Kimberly just texted me. She's excited. Okay, and then that is the end of this presentation. So do you guys have any questions for me at this time? Was tonight helpful?
Oh,
I think
yes.
it's been very helpful, especially listening everything from Lisa, her perspective.
Yeah.
Very
Motivational.
good. I'm very grateful that Lisa offered her for us. And that's what I said, you know, she could have been using that time and, you know, reaching out to more people or answering emails. So we are very, very grateful. So I'm glad that this is very helpful. Let's see here. If you're talking, that will be helpful. Yeah. Okay. Everybody can hear? Okay, good. Well, guys, thank you so very much for joining. I am so glad that you're here. Whatever. And also, there was a okay, can you guys hear now? Okay, just unmute yourself. You can hear me though, right? Just nod your head. Yeah, okay. Okay. Okay, so you can still hear me. So nod, yes? Okay, yes, I see myself. Okay, good. And now I forgot completely what I was going to say to you guys. I'm sure it was nothing important anyway. Oh, I know what it was. So the scoop was tonight. I know most of you here are in leadership, and it ended up coming out after we had already changed the time. So again, can't keep changing the times, but I did reach out to the account executive, and she said that she would send me the information. So any of the information that was on that, hopefully we'll be able to capture, and I'll be sending that out via email. So make sure that you're checking your emails. Anything that you guys need. Thank you for being here. I know many of you were on the call last Monday night, and here you are showing up. I truly want this to be our year epic. I want that whatever it is that you're wanting, I'm wanting you guys to get it. And I'm here to help you any which way I can. But thanks for being here. And I guess we all need to take our pencil and paper and get busy on Cancun, right? All right, guys. Everybody, you can unmute yourself and say good night.
Bye.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Linda.
Bye.
Linda. Bye.
Bye.